Full Spectrum RC here, guys. I haven't done a video on my Dragonfire drone in a long time, mostly because the CNC machine that me and a friend of mine had picked up hasn't been working properly, so I kind of gave up, and I was waiting until that was fixed, but that's going to cost a bunch of money, and summer's coming, so I want to get this guy in the air. So I'm just going to give you a real quick look at what I've been doing. This is one piece of the arms. If anybody's been keeping up with these, the arms have been the demise of me throughout this whole process. And I recently had the last time I took it out, I actually had a crash, and that's kind of what made me a little bit of gun shy. But I got all my carbon fiber, and I've been sitting on these sheets for a long time now. And I decided, that's it. I'm just going to draw it out on paper, glued onto a sheet, and cut all the straight lines and all the initial holes with the CNC machine. Because I know my X and Y axis are just fine. So if I line up the holes just right, all the way down, I know that all my holes are going to be level once I screw in these little mounts here. The original arms, they were 16mm, I think this is. And while they were flexing and I wasn't liking it, and the aluminum wasn't that great, and everything was flexing, so it was kind of killing me a little bit. So I bumped it up to carbon fiber all the way around and up to 25mm arms. So if you look, quite a big difference. Quite a bit bigger. If you look at the ends there. I hope that'll give it a lot more rigidity and will fix the flight issue that caused it to crash last time. Other than that, I'm going to give you a couple clips into what I'm doing. Drilling and cutting and this and that. I got to cut the thicker ones now. I did it on a 1.5mm. That was relatively easy. And now I'm going to do it on the 3mm sheet, which was more expensive, but it's going to give that rigidity, because I'm going to double these up. Boom. Boom. Just like that. And I figure that's going to be strong as heck. Well, I'm going to cut to some fun stuff now. Breathe in carbon fiber, it's bad for you. Try to vacuum up every time I regulate shut back. Hemi or whatever, HEPA filter. Carbon fiber, surprisingly enough, it's easy enough to machine as long as you treat it kind of like, I don't know, masonry almost. You don't want to cuss, per se, but you use bits that are more or less meant to abrase, rather than take chips. But I find even with this thin stuff, even it's easy to just take a regular drill bit, cut right through it. No issues so far, at least. Hasn't split on me, hasn't done anything bad. Like, I guess it's not the best finish ever, but works for what I'm doing. So, unos dos. Where did the third guy, fourth guy go? Oh, there he is. Now, I didn't get these holes just perfect, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to have to pair these up with partner arm base basically in 3 millimeters thickness, just to get these particular holes to line up perpendicular with their 25 millimeter arm clamp. So what I'm doing now is very literally drawing these out by hand, one at a time, and then cutting and gluing them to the sheet of carbon fiber. That way I have something. Oops. I should have done one of these out of something thicker. I did use this as a prototype to, well, this was the first cut out of the CNC machine. It actually worked really good, and then, well, the machine crapped out on me. It stopped cutting properly. I'm really not sure what the heck is going on with that, but we'll find out sometime. But the good thing is I know I've got all my holes perpendicular, like they should be. This part here is kind of inconsequential. I can just cut it out, drill the holes one arm on top of the other, just as a guide, as the pairs, like I was saying earlier, and then that way they just have to bolt on with their pair. That's the most important thing. And I'm laughing. I think I might even reuse this one. The technique I was doing worked out pretty good. I was happy with it. There we go. And now I just cut it out with a pair of scissors. And I just use a regular kids glue for this because well, I want them to come off, right? And if it really comes down to it, I can just rinse off all the glue if it goes through this plastic. I do have a plastic shield on this carbon fiber, so I'm not really super worried about it. It's just nice to know that even if I do schmangle it, I'm okay. So one of the biggest problems I've had throughout this whole build, from the very beginning, when I started off with these arms and these ones, was getting all these holes to line up every single time. And I figured out a trick. I was at first making these little things by the dozens, trying to make them all exactly the same and have a universal little bracket that I made out of aluminum, but that failed miserably because the jig I made wore out and started cutting funny. And what would happen was each one would cut a little bit off, or one of these holes is a different angle slightly, and then it would throw my arms off and my flight geometry got schmangled. So the trick I found is to actually put one of these arms together, kind of. You drill the first two holes, you make sure two holes line up 100% 90 degrees, 90% of the time, 100% of the time. And then you just buckle it down with the tube in it, and it lines itself up, because the carbon fiber tube is going to be straight no matter what. And tightening these down lines all that up, lines up the clamp and everything. You can just drill straight through the actual clamp, and you'll have exactly where you need your clamp to be. See, that's the problem with doing this all by hand, is I've had to really figure it all out. The CNC machine was supposed to save me all that, but now I've got to work on that by hand. So I'll show you guys that after. I'm going to put one of these together right now and I'll show you. Okay, one, two. Stacked on top of each other, my screw won't go through. Okay, now you see that. test it first. It's really nice. Now, I have some holes that line up perfect. Okay. Oops. Okay. Okay, just keep in mind all this is being done by hand. I'm just jogging it around on the machine. So what I'll do first is just set my 0 so I know how deep I have to go. And that'll make sure I go all the way through. Oh yeah, way through that way. This is probably the trickiest cut on the whole one, so I'm going to do it right off the bat. That's my 0. That's cutting. So I'll start it up. Let's run it. Boom! Pull the trigger! Here we go. I think that was a good cut. Now what I like to do, because it gets all gummed up, is I'll aim it drip and then come out rather than go up into the paper, so I don't know what I see. Okay, here we go. Dive, dive, dive! show you how I can tell how deep I'm going, because I've got 3 mil plate there, 2 or 3 mil plate, and it shows on the computer where I've zeroed it out, where I'll go into the wood. So if you watch, I'm plunging right now, you'll hear it. If you watch the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, that's how I know I'm in. I won't do any of the angled cuts just to make sure it's too difficult to do. I could probably move the keys and do it, but I'm getting pretty good results so far, so I'm not going to mess with it. Finally doing the last cut, get all the way through there, through to the end, and then I got to do the angles with my homemade Now, I'm going to do the weird angled cuts with my Dremel router table that I made myself. Just put it all together. 1 second. Okay. Put you tight in there, and plug that in. There we go. And here's where it gets noisy. Voila. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Pretty nice cut if you ask me. And now I'm going to pair them up and drill their brother's arms so that they match up perfect. And then I'm going to mark them with a wax pen later so that I know exactly which one is which. So I just clamp it down with this thing here, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. Drill press is an invaluable tool in any shop. Even if you're just into the RC stuff, this is a great thing to have, especially when you mess up your bolts all the time like I do. Just drill at the head, no problem. You got a lot of force here. As long as you got a good set of drill bits, you're laughing. Even if you don't, drill bits are cheap. And you can resharpen them. A lot of people don't realize that, but yeah, you can resharpen those bits. And this is the end result of one of the arms. Now I just gotta make 4 more. They're very, very stiff now. I really like it. The arms are going to be half as long as they are right now. This is just to give you a good idea. I'm going to cut each one of these tubes in half. One half will go on the bottom, one half will go on the top. It's just to get this upsweep style of arm look. That's been a hassle, but it's kind of mandatory for the model. In any case, here we go, guys.